Got a new tool pouch from Veto. Could this finally be the MB2 killer? I don't know, let's find out. Intro. So after rumblings and rumors for some time now, Veto has finally released their first small scale tool pouch with the hard molded base. This was always my biggest complaint about the small Veto bags. As some of you know, the MB2 has been probably my favorite bag for the last 2.5 years now. Every time I bought the bigger bags, no matter what, I always ended up back in the MB2. With the amount of tools that you can fit in this bag, yet at its light weight, I always found myself grabbing it for initial calls, diagnostics, and light troubleshooting work. It's definitely a small bag, yet it was tall enough to accommodate any multimeter you could stick in it, in addition to a 12-volt impact. Biggest pet peeve though was always the fact that because of its tall, kind of clumsy nature, when you tried to stand it up on a rooftop unit or in your workspace, it would inevitably tip over at some point, and it was just a pain to always have to reach over, grab it, lift it up, open it back up, this and that with the flap. But they have now finally unrolled the molded bottom for the new TP3B, BT3CB, TP3B. And I think that's gonna make a big difference with the convenience of these smaller bags. Let's go take a look on the tabletop. You've got all the leather detail work, the rivets, the heavy duty reinforced pockets. This is a very stiff flap here, very thick. And the same handle as the NB2, which I love this handle. It does have a belt loop in case you did wanna clip it to your pants. And it looks like we've got 3 pockets in the rear here for larger pliers or possibly drivers, 4 side pockets on the larger side, and then on each side you have 2 smaller pockets for smaller tools. And you have your big main open area here, and it looks like you could utilize this space as well if you decided to load it that way. And of course, what makes this unique from all other TP bags or small pouches from Veto, adding the hard molded base to the bottom of the bag. The bag now stands, which helps solve one of the most annoying things about having an open top bag, which is it tipping over and having all your tools strewn about the rooftop or whatever workspace you're in. All right, well, enough of the walkthrough. There's obviously not much to it as far as size, so we'll get into kind of my initial loadout for this thing and what I plan on taking it out for tomorrow onto a small service call that I already have scheduled. I'm gonna go ahead and in these 3 larger holes in the back, I'm gonna put my pliers that I plan on using with this bag, which will be a crimper, a heavy duty needle nose plier, and a set of wire strippers. This side pocket here, I'll go ahead and I'll put my 11-in-1, which will also serve as my nut drivers. I'm not gonna have room to carry multiple nut drivers in this setup. On the same pocket on this side, I will put a small 6-inch adjustable wrench, as well as a small channel lock. I'll fill out the rest of these smaller holes with a variety of smaller tools. A couple thermostat screwdrivers, a torque wrench for Schrader cores, a service wrench, a small flashlight, and a ballpoint pen. And the main open compartment, I will be using a weekly pill container for small electrical connectors, screws, Schrader cores, brass caps, etc. And the last remaining spot will be for a multimeter. And there we have the pouch loaded out initially with what I think I'll use it most commonly with. You do have the option of using the tape measure holder if you want to clip that on. I don't know if I'll keep that there. It does add to the thickness or depth of the bag, and I could just picture this getting hung up on things and falling off. I almost forgot I will utilize some of the back of the pouch here. You have this great opening that runs all the way through where the leather's folded over and riveted. I'm gonna utilize that space to store my jumpers and my non-contact voltage tester. And there you have it. Now it's just a matter of seeing how it holds up in the field. So initial reactions, I like it. You know, everything seems really stiff in here. It feels very stable, well built. I did take it out on a light PM yesterday and it did pretty good. If I'm being totally honest, the verdict is still out. It's gonna take a few months of me really beating this thing up to get a good idea if I end up going back to my true love, the MB2. It's a good looking bag though, you know, and I'm pretty excited about using it. I think I'm gonna enjoy it. What I do know is that since this bag came into our home, there has been tension.
Why don't you have Donald do it? What? His grandma's sick every week. Don't you see through this bullshit?
He's so funny. It's, you know, it's natural talent. I don't know what else to say.
Don't fucking get it for me.
Some obvious concerns for me are the fact that it is an open top bag, and I've never used those. I've never preferred them. I've always preferred the ability to cover my tools, so when I'm climbing up ladders, stuff like that, or in the elements, I don't have to worry as much about either losing the tools or getting them wet. But I have a little feeling that the hardtop bottom might be enough to offset those concerns of mine. And I can tell you this, Veto, if you do come out with the MB2 with the hard bottom, I think you are gonna have legions of fans rushing to buy the bag, because I would say by far this was your most popular bag ever when it comes to the tool pouches. I may be wrong, but that's certainly the impression I get from social media. In the meantime though, I will begin to experiment with this and see how the base holds up in the field, if it still tips over with high winds, etc., etc. Because of the fact that this will not close and have the height of the MB2, unfortunately this is about what I'll be able to carry. There won't be any impact being added to this, any more drivers than I already have. I basically have to have the 11-in-1 because all of these tools are mandatory for me to carry for diagnosis, so I'm really left with an 11-in-1 as my driver as opposed to having separate nut drivers. One thing I did notice is that this did not come with the tape loop that has traditionally come with every other bag I've bought with Veto. I know I have some extra ones around the shop, so it's not a big concern, but just something worth noting. I've given you my initial reactions and tentatively my loadout for using this bag. I'll do a follow-up video at some point if anything changes or if I see any big issues or advantages with the bag. But for now, a big thanks to Veto for listening to the requests of its customers. This was something that has been brought up a lot of times before, and they took actionable steps to make it happen. We appreciate it, Veto. I hope you enjoyed the unboxing and initial reactions of the Veto TP3B, and please consider subscribing to the channel if you like the content. That way you get the new videos as they roll out and you don't miss a thing. And if you're new to the channel, here's another video up here. Take a look, see what the channel's about, and I hope to see you around. With that, guys, stay safe and we'll see you on the next one.